just wanna make you laugh. I just wanna see that smile. Baby, we're only here for a little while. I just wanna hold you till we fall asleep. I want love, I want us, I want you, I want me, I want peace.
Happy hump day, it's morning coffee, and I'm Rick Alexander. If this is the first time listening to the show, welcome. Thanks for checking it out. Basically, the point of this show is they're very short, 10 minutes or less, and I like to just talk about a topic, let you think through it in your own life. I'll ask you a couple questions, and then that's it. I'll turn it off, and you guys can think through the answer for yourself because, look, I actually don't care what you believe. I just care that you find the right answers that satisfy your curiosity, your desires, to express yourself in the way that you want to in this life. And so if you do dig it, you can go to Lionheart Radio on your favorite podcast app, subscribe to the show, and you'll get it delivered 5 days a week. And again, if you're not into it, I'll give you a free refund, all of your money back. If you guys want to interact with me, the best way to do that is on Instagram at Lionheart Radio or at Rick Alexander _. So I made a post on Sunday of this week, and I talked about this idea that there are far worse things in life than failure. And I wanted to elaborate on those because I think what's way worse than failure, this is a decision that I had to come to in my own life because as I was getting ready to pivot from a big career, and there was a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure to kind of step into the next pair of golden handcuffs, to go after the benefits, to go after the 401ks, and go after these things. And the one thing I kept thinking of, though, is that I can't have the maybe I should have conversation with myself. And that's kind of why I crafted the post, but that's also what I wanted to elaborate on today, because that maybe I should have conversation is an absolute killer. It'll kill your well-being. The pain of regret is such a cliche thing that we talk about, but I just know that if I got to the end of my life and I looked back, I would had to have known that I tried, that I actually went for what I wanted, full on, no holds barred, no rules. I'm going for what I want because you know what? Maybe you won't get it. Maybe you'll fail. Maybe things won't work out. Maybe your heart will get broken. All of that is true. But you know what? Maybe they won't. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll succeed. And then what? One of the things we have to do is really redefine this idea of failure in our lives because failure is just showing you what didn't work. It's an informational input, and you can choose to react to it however you want. And you can allow it to kind of wreck your emotional well-being, but you can also just understand that it's showing you something that didn't work. You make a quick pivot, and then you move on. That's what happens when you fail. That's why you have to go for it. Look, there's going to be a lot of people that either one went for what they wanted and it didn't work out and they didn't have the right attitude towards failure, okay? And they're going to discourage you from going after what you want. And then the other type of people are the people that never had the balls to go after what they want anyway. And so they're going to try to discourage you to go after what you want as well. They're both going to have the maybe you shouldn't conversation with you. And anytime you find someone having the maybe you shouldn't conversation with you, you have to think seriously about if you're going to listen to their advice or not, because if you're having the maybe I should have conversation with yourself later in life, you're going to live in regret. Look, things aren't always going to work out. Like chasing your dreams there's a risk involved, of course. Anything to be gained in life, there's a barrier to entry, and that barrier to entry requires that you shoulder the risk with valor. But guess what? There's no valor in the chances you aren't taking. None at all. And so when it comes to your life, we want to simplify this equation and make it black and white. It's like if I go after what I want, let's say I want to start a business or I want to date somebody and the business works out or the person or the relationship ends in marriage, then I get to chalk those up as successful and I get to tell other people to be successful. But if they don't work out, well, then that would be considered a failure. And then I would stake my identity or something like that on that failure. But the truth is that it's just showing you what didn't work. It's showing you what hasn't worked out. And you're probably going to learn a lot of things about what do work and what has worked out. And if you can figure out some honest self-reflection and some practices around self-reflection, you'll realize that failure is just they're tiny pivot points. That's all it is. It's a chance to pivot. You know, I used to think the way that I sort of talked myself off the ledge and going after my own business and creating my own thoughts and stuff is I told myself, well, I'm employable, so I could always get a job. Worst case, if I go after what I want, it doesn't work out, I could always get a job. What I didn't realize is that that wasn't actually an option for me, because now that I'm living my dream and I'm doing the things that I want to do, what I understand to be true is that if this doesn't work, I'm just going to keep trying. I'm just going to keep pivoting. I'm going to think harder. I'm going to be more critical of what I'm doing in my message, and I'm going to figure this out because I don't have any other options, because I don't want any other options. I don't want a different lifestyle. That's the power of going after what you truly want. You begin to understand that failure is not actually an option, and anything that is disguised as failure is just a pivot point. It's just a moment to reflect, refine, double down, and keep moving forward. And so maybe you go after the person that you want and you get your heart broken. Or maybe you go after the business that you want and it fails, like 90% of businesses do. But step one, you start picking up the pieces of your heart. Damn it, that's what you do. It sucks and it hurts and it's life. That's what life is. But you start picking up those pieces. Step two is you let your ego die in the wreckage, because chances are that what got you into what hurts now had something to do with your ego. And so you got to look for that. You got to let that thing die. If you hold on to that ego, you're going to continue to make that mistake in the future. You know, when I go through painful moments, one of the things I always think about is let me never forget this pain. And I try to articulate it and describe it to myself. Because one of the things that happens in life is that pain actually starts to, well, the sense of pain actually does fade with time and memory. It's hard to remember how bad it actually hurt. And so one of the things I always ask of myself is like, let me never forget this pain so I don't do whatever damn dumb thing landed me here to begin with. And so you let your ego die in the wreckage. You let what's not serving you stay with that pain, stay in that moment so that you don't do it in the future. But then you just got to refuse to let what's gone wrong say anything about what could go right. And, you know, I said that in yesterday's show. It's like the past doesn't actually exist. It's only in your mind that you're continuing to bring it to this moment now. The truth is, it no longer exists. It happened. You went through it. Hopefully you learned. But then it's time to double down and continue to move forward. And you know, look, I have the Clarity Academy where I help people figure out who they really are and what they want. And out of the Clarity Academy, we've had people start businesses, we've had relationships, and we've had some scary stuff go down, right? And it's caused me to take a step back and to really think about this. Like, is this something that I want? Do I want to push people or encourage people to pursue their passion and pursue the things that they really want and to not take the safe choice? But look, the safe choice is only enticing if you believe that life is this black and white scenario where things either work or that they don't. And if a relationship doesn't end in marriage, it was a failure. And if a business doesn't end with you making millions, it was a failure. And the truth is, it's all just an experience. That's what this life is, just one big, astounding experience. And so try to strip yourself of this desire to make things black and white, because what you find is that you can hold space for things. Things cannot work out. Relationships cannot work out. You'll get another chance. You'll pick up the pieces of your heart. And look, it always gets better. Sometimes when we are in something that we've grown comfortable in and it's no longer serving us, we don't want to let it go because we're afraid it's the best we'll ever have. But the truth is that it always gets better. Your next relationship, they always get better. And the reason they always get better is because you're smarter, because you've learned something else. You figured out something that doesn't work or something that you want or something that you need. Sometimes we go after things, turns out to not be exactly what we thought it'd be, but you learn. And again, that's why it always gets better. Life isn't this black and white scenario of winners and losers. We're all just doing our best. We're all just experiencing it in the way that we want to, hopefully. But there's a way to experience it and a way to go through it so that it can continuously get better. But the only way that'll happen is with honest self-reflection and by letting go the parts of you that are no longer serving you. You've got to go through that ego death because, like I said in a past episode, if you don't die, you can't be born again. But to be born again or to be born anew, this time stronger, this time smarter, this time better, is to give yourself a better opportunity at life working out in the way that you want it to. And even that's something you got to hold on loosely because what you want might not even be half as good as what it could be. When I look back at past relationships and past things, I thought that I wanted those because it was the best it had been in my life up until that point. And if I would have held on too tightly to that, if I would have tried to not make any more risky maneuvers or go after things I wanted because I wanted to just get back to my relative level of happiness, well, I would have missed out on a whole bunch of life, because by me just being open and allowing my ego to die and to go through all these things and to learn from all these lessons and to just be open to however life unfolds, what I've come to find is I could have never planned how amazing this damn universe was going to work out for me. And look, maybe it won't. Maybe things will still go south in the future. Maybe things for you will still go south in the future. Maybe you end up with a person that you love the most and they end up leaving. All of these things happen. All of these things are possible, but that's not a good enough reason not to go after them. It's just a good enough reason to reframe the way that you're thinking about them and conceptualizing them so that every damn thing that goes wrong in your life doesn't end up a death sentence, because it doesn't have to be. There's a way to maneuver through this life so that you learn from what's gone wrong, so that you're open to what could go right, and so that you're in the moment, and so that you're leaning in to the best parts of life, which, if I'm being honest, is love. And so when it comes to chasing your passion, when it comes to going after what you want in life, don't do it afraid. Just understand that maybe it won't work out and maybe you'll have to regroup, but that's okay, because that's what the process of living is all about. One thing you'll figure out when you become really growth-minded is that you're gonna die 1,000 times over in this life. But every time you do, you're gonna learn a little bit more, you're gonna get a little bit better, and things, as a result, are going to get a little bit better. I love you guys. We'll chat tomorrow on Morning Coffee.
Save your bets, I'm not through yet. I'll quit when it becomes a chore. All in stride, time after time. I don't know why I come back here for more. I got awards on my table, but it don't mean a thing. There ain't enough merit in this world that's gonna buy my girl a wedding ring. I got records on my wall, but it don't mean shit. They won't pay my bills when they figure out why I'm sick. No, you don't do it for the money, you don't do it for the fame. Well, all you can say is that it's a love and labor game. It's a love and labor game. It's a love and labor game. And a man's gotta work. You know a man's gotta work. Right? A man's gotta work. So you're a rover boy, where you're meant to die out on that highway. Now you're self-employed, you're getting way too used to being lonely. When you fill the void, tip that bottle over when you're thirsty. Were you overjoyed? Did it overtake you on your worst day? Don't you do it for the money? No, don't you do it for the fame? Well, all you can say is that it's a love and labor game. It's a love and labor game. It's a love and labor game. And a man's gotta work. You know a man's gotta work. Right? Gotta work. So save your bets, I'm not through yet. I'll quit when it becomes a chore. All in stride, time after time. I don't know why I keep coming back for more. Keep coming back for more. gotta work. I guess a man's gotta work. You know a man's gotta work.